at both ends. But, I obviously don't do arm wrestling for a living, so my day job is in tech, and I do a few other things. But look, the arm wrestling events, that's one of those passion projects that's gone on for 12, 13 years now. And
Yeah.
you find space in your schedule to do it because it's what you love and
Right.
the experiences we've had. All right. I think we are up. I think we're good, Devon. I think we are live,
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me, buddy.
mate. A pleasure as always. And look, thanks for getting up, Devon. It's like a dawn for you.
Yeah.
It's spoken to me 4.5 hours ago on Insta. I was like, hang on, it's getting awfully
Yeah. A
close.
lot of yeah. I normally don't get to bed until 4:30. That's normal for me. So but yeah, it's good to break that rhythm every once in a while, especially when we got something so cool coming up. What is this? This is the second one, right?
This is the second one. So we did the first one in 22. I remember I really wanted to get you along for that, but
Yeah.
it just didn't line up. I mean, we went with Larry because Larry was all the rage. He was doing great things in the strength world, but then he did that
Yeah.
collaboration with arm wrestling, which the story very, very well. We brought out Larry, and I think we just with the first one we thought let's recreate the movie as accurately, or the original competition as accurately as we can.
So this is a massive tournament. Like
Yeah,
this is the biggest tournament in the region. And you guys are planning on making this an annual thing, yeah?
I think every 2 years, just
Every
because of the
two.
scale, just because of the scale of it. Um, and ever since the round of 22 version, I had comments. I couldn't think of a training session I went to where someone said, "When are you doing the next over the top?" It became this almost for us legendary tournament because you run the national events and you run the state championships. This had an international appeal, and in terms of its scope, and we wanted to do something that was just audacious and really paid homage to for a lot of us, me and Tom and Andrew Lee um and Oz and the guys. We got into the sport because a lot of us saw Over the Top, and we thought, man, that's such a cool movie and it's such an important part of the history of arm wrestling. Let's keep it alive and let's make it. I know there's one popping up elsewhere in the world, smaller ones. We thought let's do it down to the detail of staging segments, the hanging numbers, the whole atmosphere was very 80s in nature. And that was Tom bless you, which Tom well, Devon, he built all of that stuff in his house. And I'm surprised he didn't get a divorce as a result, but he had a whole house full of over the top segments and tables and worked all through the night to get it done.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
So
So yeah, so so it's $10,000 for the open side, right? It's
yeah,
yeah, very good.
so your buddy, Eric Bruson, did a great job. The Arm Wrestling Archives, and he did. I remember reading this in 22, getting all the detail. And Eric just kind of documented the weight classes, the payouts, everything, even down to the fact that pro division, I think the fourth and fifth place got a VCR and a television set. Like that's the sort of stuff that Eric had dug up. So we thought let's emulate all of the classes, right down to men's, women's. Every class is the same as the original event. Yeah,
Uh,
are also the same as the original event, except for the truck. We obviously don't have a truck we can give away free.
wow. Well, hey, sponsors, take a look at this. Jump
If you
in.
get,
Jump
yeah,
in.
you got
Hey,
any
should get the
trucking
Diesel
projects,
brothers. Should get the Diesel brothers on this.
that would be the icing on the cake if we could get a
That
truck
would be
there.
cool. That would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So the
Very awesome.
total prize money is 25K. So the 10 grand is the open class. So the John Present class was the proper division. There was a military division, and then there was the professional class as well. So the professional class was $10,000. So that's the one we're copying. So you get 10K for professional, 5K for second, and I think 3K for third place.
What was the attendance last tournament?
90 from memory.
90.
Yeah.
So the open class had 90 in it?
No, 100. Oh, the open class had 64.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So the open class had 64 people in it. The overall tournament had 190. So we sort of capped with the open division as well. You don't want everyone jumping in the open class, and because the open class in the original tournament was you pre-qualified all over the world, and as you know, there was qualifications happening in Israel and Europe and North America, and they got down to the finals in Vegas, and it was 800 people in the finals, and which was why it took I think 18 hours, which is what the it was running for. So it was a massive, massive undertaking to run the original tournament.
Wow. Wow. Well, maybe we'll get closer to that.
Is my microphone clear to you?
Now it's good. Now it's very clear. At the beginning, it sounded a bit muffled. Something dropped off, but to tell you the truth, you're more clear now.
Okay, easy. I got a message from that. I'm thinking, okay, was it the headset? But that's perfect. So yeah, so the tournament. So what makes this one interesting is open class. It's open to the world. So we've already got interest from Bulgaria. I've got the Uzbekistan team coming. There's interest from Kazakhstan. Obviously New Zealand, Australia, Southeast Asia. So there's a really good spread of athletes coming. And I think last time it was the Lachlan and Mate show. You know, you sort of knew those guys would be the ones to make it to the final. I think it's really up in the air this time.
Yeah. Well, you guys got Reichert now.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, and I always wondered what happened to those guys that I met at the seminar there, those great big dudes. Whatever happened to them? You know the ones I'm talking about? I forget the name. The one was like an artist and he was a ex-fighter, a great big dude. I guess Polynesian descent, probably.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. There was a few of those guys, to be
yeah,
fair.
there's a few of those guys, and I thought that they
Marcus
had,
Atirai.
that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. Did he ever end up becoming like a big champion?
So look, Marcus is still training regularly. He had a few health issues, which is why he didn't compete as much. But I mean, look, he's still jumping on the table at AWE and some other events every now and then. But no,
Okay.
he hasn't gone probably as far as you may have thought he would have gone from when you gripped
I,
up with him because he had the
yeah.
genetics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Cool.
So the big question is who is out of Auden and Milo, are they those guys? Because I think what a lot of people don't realize, they've seen the announcement, Devon's coming, everyone's
Yeah.
excited, but it's not just Devon, it's the whole Larratt family coming. It's Jody, it's Milo, it's Auden, it's Haybury, and
Yeah.
you guys are all arm wrestlers. So who's
Yeah.
jumping in what classes?
Oh, well, I don't know where everybody will jump. I mean, I would assume the Autumn Tide jumps in the open. I would guess. But and who knows, maybe Milo will too for fun. I don't know. I don't know what they'll decide, but I mean, to go all that way, I won't be surprised if they just go for the open and have fun. Um, but yeah, they're training all the time. Like Auden is training like all the time. And yeah, Milo has a match coming up at the end of next month, so he's training too. So there's a lot of arm wrestling going on around here. A lot, a lot. Yeah.
Out of the two of them, that was just out of Auden and Milo, open because it's right arm, right? So I don't know who's better on right versus left. Who's got the better chance to go deep?
Right arm. Auden is probably the guy. Probably the guy. Yeah. Auden is very professional in his training. Like he trains super diligently. He passed Milo a while ago, so it's Milo now who's got to come back to beat Auden. The little brother has definitely, done his work. So
Nice.
yeah, Auden's pretty tough now. Auden's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, he's not quite at Ryan Bowen level yet, but that's a target for him. That's a
Well,
target.
he will meet those guys. I mean, this is the fun of main draw, right? I think,
Yeah.
and we see a lot. There's a lot of super match focus these days, which is awesome. But I still love the old, there's a lot of
Oh
some of
yeah.
the early, man, that just seeing a
Me
bunch of
too.
different weight guys get thrown in the mix. Zoliev,
Uh,
Jerry Cadaret, there's just bang, let's see what happens. I mean, I used to love staying up and watching those streams.
yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a tournament. Tournaments are great. I think they're so good, and this one will be. Sounds like it'll be very well attended, and it sounds like there'll be some pretty good talent there as well. Certainly from the region. Um, but I think $10,000 is enough to get people to travel. So I won't be surprised if the level is pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Look, we got Rick, obviously we got our studs like Rico did very well, East versus West. You got Lachlan, you've got Lachlan's the defending champion. You got
Yeah.
Mate, Brett Cooch just had a mega win against both those guys left. I think it was left against
I
Brett and
heard
then
that. Yeah,
against
that
Lachlan.
shakes up the rankings. Yeah. Does that put him back on top?
Left, he's on top. So Brett is number one left.
Yeah.
Right arm, and Brett beat Mate. So look, you throw those four guys, then you've got Mario Tambakis, and Mario sort
Yeah.
of flies under the radar a bit. And
Yeah.
Mario hits the US scene, takes out titles across the US. Mario's a fantastic puller.
Yeah.
He is definitely training hard behind the scenes. He's probably not as prominent on the socials as the other guys are, but Mario's definitely he did very well at the last over the top.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. I can't wait. We can't wait. We'll go probably right from there right to Switzerland. I won't be
Okay.
surprised. At least I don't know if all of us will, but I think I certainly will. Yeah, because that's like, so some time in Australia, some time to Switzerland. Yeah, yeah.
It's a good life.
I think that this will probably be my final training, this whole event. Yeah.
So October 19th, so have you got any big matches but before the year's out? Because this is really the last sort of for us, the
Well,
big tournament.
I probably can't announce it yet, but there's a really good chance that I'll competing in Switzerland. I'd say there's a very good chance. And I'd also say that it would probably be a right-handed match. And the list is pretty short, who it could be. Pretty short. Yeah. Um, it's got to get confirmed. There's been talk. There's been talk of me having a significant match in Switzerland for that event. So uh, yeah, I probably have to wait, but
Hmm.
it might be a rematch.
A third rematch or
No,
a
no, a second rematch.
second
Yeah,
rematch? Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. So it's obviously not for Tyler, we know that.
Let's hope that I even get that one done. Let's
Yeah.
see if we can figure out a way to get that done here. Bit spicy these days, but I think that the intention is for that match to happen sometime over the next month or month and a half. Let's just cross our fingers. We're full speed ahead here with that one in mind. So yeah,
Let's hope. I mean, look, it's for the benefit of the arm wrestling world. I mean, at the end of the day, all the drama aside, I think everyone just wants to see great arm wrestling matches happen.
that's why we're here. That's
That's why we're
that's why
here.
we're here. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
yeah, we're gonna make that happen for sure. We're just working through contact contracts and details, but and that's super messy right now, super messy. But yeah, with that in mind, I'm sure it will happen here over the next month or two. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'll let the guys in the chat try and figure out who the match is in Switzerland.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so I'll talk to you and Jody about that separately. We'll figure that out. So it sounds like Jody may be going back to Ottawa.
Jody likes to come with me. So I won't be surprised if we send the kids packing. I don't know. Auden is right in there too now. So I don't know what the split will be. I don't know. I mean, these days we're traveling a lot as a family. I don't know. We got to figure it out. But yeah, we'll do our best to make sense here really quick.
So the last
But
time you guys
either
were all
way,
here
yeah.
was 2014.
Was it
It was
2014?
2014. Yeah, yeah. So I was just looking at, so this is the fourth time you've been out. We got you out twice, once in quick succession. We did 14. You came out with the whole
Right.
family. They were all kids. I remember having you guys stay with me up the road actually in that steep street that crazy
Yes.
steep street, and we had Auden, and they're all kids, all little kids at the
Yeah.
time, and now
Yeah.
Auden's coming in to do some damage on the table.
Isn't it funny, eh? Yeah. No, it's wild. I mean, I have spent I feel like I have spent a lot of time in Australia, thanks to you guys. I appreciate that so much. I mean, uh, I feel like the last time I went is when I really got to know a lot of people, right? Because last time is when I flew around to
Yeah.
every single like major club. Yeah, yeah. I think it was
And
like a month, wasn't it?
it was a month, and I think there's a lot of new people that have come in the sport since then
Yeah,
they missed that opportunity. I people that didn't get the 2019 Arnold Classic visit or just came into the sport maybe a year later. I know one of the guys who's on the committee now, Jacob, he missed you by a small margin, and he's just so happy that that's getting
yeah,
another chance at that.
yeah. That didn't seem so long ago. I guess it was right before I pulled Todd Hutchings. You guys were the training camp for my Todd Hutchings match.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, and the Arnold
yeah. Wow.
Schwarzenegger, the Arnold thing, man, that was, I mean, honestly, that was to me, like if I look at the pinnacles of the sport, um, we met Arnie a few years beforehand, which was that sort of, we were like gushing little school kids
Yeah,
when he walked past, and you had that
yeah,
fantastic moment with pull my finger
yeah.
and then get to the
Yes.
chopper.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that's on like every major highlight reel that gets posted. Like that moment with Arnold, that's great. Yeah. Well, that's a big event. That event that year was very busy, very busy. Now, arm wrestling in Australia was already quite well established, really, at that point. But I'm sure it's had the same growth I mean, the big arm wrestling boom came during COVID for most places.
Yeah, look, that's where we saw the least amount of growth. I mean,
The
YouTube
least.
wise, yeah, but well, because you couldn't go anywhere, right? We had Melbourne was
Uh,
locked down completely. You had each of the different states were doing different things, but you couldn't train, right? I mean, arm wrestling wasn't a sport that they were particularly happy with
yeah,
during COVID, with you gripping up with people. So
right.
it became difficult to grow the clubs, and even the first
Yeah,
comps, low turnout. I mean, people were just dying to get out there and arm wrestle again, but. I think we were at our peak in 29. That Arnold's event with Schwarzenegger and you there, that was
yeah.
definitely the highlight in terms of our growth over the last sort of 9 years before that.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of places I found grew a ton during COVID. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I know that.
that's the advent of the YouTube. I mean, you guys get Larry Wheels
Yeah,
comes out, the
yeah,
Strongman collaboration piece comes out sort of at the tail end of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And here we are, 2025, August, or no, October 19th. October
I know.
19th.
11 years later since we first had you out. So tell me, out of the Australian, that's speaking of strongman. So you touched on this in one of your
Oh,
videos. You know where I'm going with this.
I do.
There's a certain strongman lurking around this area. Now
Yeah,
he's a great guy, and he's dying to meet you as you are him. And I
super cool.
love the cross collaboration of strength sports that's happening.
Oh
And
yeah,
you're a big
it's
catalyst
gonna
for
be
that.
great. It's gonna be so cool. Like, so Tom Haviland is like an absolute legend. Like, and especially crazy because nobody's really seen his face based off of his social media. Like talk about like a super famous dude who nobody knows who he looks like, other than a great big Hulk, But I mean, he's known, no speaking whatsoever. He just shows these incredible training pieces. Yeah, clearly a tremendous power and strength athlete. Clearly, I don't know much about him, but I mean, obviously he has the athletic base to do whatever he wants.
Hmm.
But yeah, arm wrestling could be really cool for him. Um, I'd love to have an opportunity to work with him. I mean, I'd love that. Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna happen.
I was gonna say it's so fun watching his trajectory and his rise to I almost say notoriety because he doesn't show his face. There's that mystery. It's
Yeah,
almost this who is this enormous guy who lifts these weights that guys like Brian Shaw and I've seen a few strongmen talk about him and they're like, what he's lifting on any given day in the world's strongest man would he would sort of podium with some of those lifts. Um,
yeah,
but he doesn't do it to seek any kind of. He's not doing it for any other reason than he wants to sort of fortify himself and to show people that training doesn't require fancy gyms. It's almost like he's the antithesis of the modern gym. He will train with whatever he has at his disposal outside and in a very unconventional way, and build this incredible human frame of strength and he can jump. I don't know if you've seen his jumping videos where
yeah,
the
yeah,
guy, he's not just about strength lifting. He's sort of very well-rounded for a guy of that size.
yeah, yeah. Very curious guy. Very interesting. I have so many questions. Yeah.
Well, we'll get him. I think if you guys just again, I think over the top is probably not the right forum to kind of do the initial meet, but just you guys just meeting one-on-one privately, just to kind of
Yes.
just that I
Yeah.
imagine would be exactly what both of you guys
Well, that's worth
would
the
love.
trip all by
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Very
that. Then
cool.
that was one
And
of
I'll
the.
get to and I want to see if I can do anything in Street Fighter. I gotta
Uh,
try again. I gotta try.
so I've got a new machine coming. I thought
Oh, good.
amongst all the other things we're doing for over the top, that crappy little kids machine we had last time, I'll give you a leave pass on that. It just didn't give enough room to move, right? So I'll get a proper competition arcade cabinet with Mortal Kombat 2, with Street Fighter 2.
Oh. Now you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, well, you said MK2 is your game, so
Now you're gonna be in trouble. You better train.
I will be training.
Yeah, you should probably practice. Yeah.
I think I've set
Yeah.
myself a goal, beat you with Dulcin, with any character.
Okay. Okay.
And then MK2, we'll see the MK2, how that pans
Yeah.
out.
Okay. That'll even things up for me, I think. Yeah. Very
So just
good. Very good.
question I wanted to ask you, and I thought about this before we were, just chatting the other day. 87, so Over the Top came out in 87. The
Yeah.
comp was in 86 in Vegas. 87 it drops in the cinemas. What were you? Because you were, let's say, 11, 12-year-old boy at that time.
Yeah.
When did you first see the movie or become aware of the movie?
Oh, much later. Much later. Yeah. No, I didn't see the movie until kind of like I was an arm wrestler and everybody was like, "Oh, have you seen Over the Top? Have you seen Over the?" So I rented and watched it. But no, I didn't watch it in theaters. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it until many years after. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, yeah, no, at that time I was like, geez, I mean, I'm like 12 years old, 13 years old, running around on the farm. No,
Your
no.
grandmother and your grandmother, I remember, was a big influence on on your arm wrestling journey?
Massive. Yeah. And the funny thing is, her name was Levon, right?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
No, I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's destiny right there.
Yeah. It is kind of funny. Yeah. So no, she started me, but I was arm wrestling all the time with my friends in public school back then. Yeah. Yeah. But nothing organized. I wasn't really training for arm wrestling. Like I already had weights and was probably, even when I was like 12 or 13, I found a weight set somewhere, but no, I wasn't training for arm wrestling back then. I was just general bodybuilding, general conditioning. But yeah, what an impact that thing had, you know. That movie got a lot of people into the sport.
It did, and look, there's still people to this day. I mean, guys I train with who haven't seen it. I'm not going to single out anyone there. Jordan Davis, who refused to watch it, but
Oh, really?
and look, it just I think because it's that era, right? It's the '80s era.
Uh,
There's a lot of movies that we would have grown up with that a lot of the newer generation probably haven't watched. But to me, that's very much in the. I've got Predator, I've got
yeah,
Rambo, I've got all these
Terminator.
80s films, Terminator, and Over the Top probably picked an unfortunate year to come out. It came out the same year as Predator,
Yeah,
which didn't do well. That
yeah,
wouldn't have done well for Stallone. But look, for John Brzenk to win that, I mean, I'm sure you'd agree that for him to have that first place in the truckers division, that was a huge part of John Brzenk's legacy.
massive, massive win. Biggest tournament ever. You win the biggest tournament that there ever was. I mean, that's a pretty significant deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, Devon, I know you're, and it's early. I don't want to hold on for you for too much longer. But final thing. So, I don't know. You obviously know that the Olympics is next in LA, but after that, the Olympics is in Brisbane, right down the
Oh,
road from me. It's
so interesting.
1.5 kilometers is the main stadium from where I am. Um, so that sort of brings me to that question. And there's a chance to get guest sport status in Brisbane 2032. So we are working on that.
Really?
Like, there's anything I can do or leave behind in this sort of journey. It's like and the opportunity to get arm wrestling onto the Olympic stage to me, and you hear it sort of get poo-pooed a lot online. People saying there's no chance.
Oh,
There
what
is
a
a
great
chance.
thing for the sport. That's so awesome. Yeah, if we can get into the Olympics, how great is that? Of course, that's a massive, massive achievement for our sport. Yeah, I feel like we were in the original Olympics.
I feel it's the motto of the Olympics: stronger, faster,
Yeah,
higher. Like you look at some of the sports in the Olympics and you think, how are they in there? And arm wrestling is not
yeah,
in there.
super base, super, super base. Yeah, the ultimate accessible sport. Like, yeah, it's of course we should be in there. Um, so are you talking to people? What can we
It's
do to make it happen?
so it's very much look, it's a popularity contest at the end
Yeah,
of it. I mean, if you look at France and in Paris, breakdancing got in as a lottery sport, and obviously that didn't work out well. And I think any sport that is subjective in its, arm wrestling's not subjective, right? You either win or you lose, and as a spectator watching it, as the audience, it's a very simple sport to understand. Some of the sports that go over for days and require a judging panel, this to me, I don't think is in the spirit of the Olympics. And I think arm wrestling certainly ticks off a lot more boxes in that respect.
oh yeah,
Um, the pathway is definitely through the World Federation, right? So you need WADA, you need IPC, you need all of the Olympic charters to be satisfied. Arm wrestling does all that. It's just it's kind of at that point now where the host city, which LA will pick their own sports, Brisbane gets to pick their own sports. So we still haven't
really?
finalized the 5 sports that go into the 2032 Olympics. So hence why it
Wow,
is still very topical.
wow, very cool. So do you know that person? Do you know other people that you got to know?
Look, that they are, the head of the Olympic Committee is now in Brisbane, has moved over here. So I think a lot of it comes down to contacts,
Yeah.
getting in the right ears, and just making a case, constantly making a case that arm wrestling is a sport that should be in the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I think
Wow. Good.
I think holding the world champs in Australia, 27 or 28, 4 years, 5 years out from the Olympics, will put
Ah,
it very much in the limelight
and
here
that's
and get
happening.
everyone's
Yeah.
eyes. That's the
Oh,
goal.
that.
So I want to
Oh,
try and get a bid
perfect.
in for that.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Good. That's
So
great.
if the Olympics happens, Devon, will you compete?
Yes. Yes, I will. Yeah, I will. I will. I'll clean up my diet and I'll get in there. Yeah, 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 yeah. If they let me, I would certainly do my best. I'd go and pull the WAF chain for a year. I guess that's what it would take. And try and win my nationals and represent Canada. That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah, I was gonna. I mean, how would that rate? I mean, if you look at all your accomplishments in arm wrestling, you've had an incredible career. What would an Olympic gold, if Olympics was on the menu, what would an Olympic gold medal
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that's pretty cool to be recognized in that forum with all those athletes. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I feel like arm wrestling's become quite well organized. Like I feel like we are arm wrestling very likely the best that there is. I mean, but I think that, being part of the Olympics will just continue to gather more and more athletes and, just make us more and more relevant and just up the level of our sport. Being in the Olympics gives us so much credibility from the amateur side of sport. I mean, I think it would strengthen that so much if that's the end goal. Um, you know, that's really cool. I mean, if you can compete the Olympics, I think that a lot of people, a lot of us, a lot of athletes in the sport would just be like, okay, all your ambitions, you want to, be an East versus West world champion, you want to go on to beat that person. I think a lot of people would just be like, Olympics every 4 years. I'm gonna do my best to medal, and just make it very simple. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. That's an amazing thing that our sport could do.
And I think it's definitely, I mean, it needs people to lobby for it. I mean, you need those people in positions where there's political influence. It is a very political game.
Yeah,
It's a popularity thing. I mean, they act Olympic sports that simply aren't rating with the public in
yeah.
terms of broadcasting. Things that just if they're boring and they don't appeal to a younger demographic, there's a chance they won't make it. So, and I think arm wrestling does. It appeals to many demographics.
Oh yeah, our views are great. Yeah, people love arm wrestling. Um, yeah, we're getting a lot of calls. The sport is getting a lot of calls from, different different venues to come and play at it. Um, yeah, I know that there's a new organization that's coming up. It's very interested in arm wrestling.
Tell me it's
Very
not slap
interested.
fighting.
It's not slap fighting. No. No, but it's got the word well, it's actually doesn't have the word Olympics in it, but it's along the
Okay.
same kind of genre. Yeah. Yeah,
Look,
the
if it
the
if it
enhanced
bolsters
games.
our chance, the enhanced. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that invites that. I mean, that's a difference. It puts it in the spotlight at the end of the day.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are interested in arm wrestling. It'd be great to have the Olympics is really where it's got to be. If we could hit the Olympics, there's probably no better win for arm wrestling. I think that's about the best win that we can get.
Yeah. Well, nothing legitimizes the sport like achieving that status, right? I mean, you would, I'm sure, see this all the time. You still get a lot of people. It's not a real sport. How is arm wrestling a sport? Have you seen
I don't
slap
get it so
fighting?
much anymore,
Oh,
but yeah, I know it's still out there, but I feel like we've grown so much, so much. Like over the course of our careers, I mean, it's a lot of change. It's a lot of change.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
that's we'll see how we go, Devon. That's the kind of
yeah,
that's our Everest in the sport is
yeah, yeah.
can
Well,
we
look at
can we get
closer
unity
and
and get there?
closer. I mean, I feel like there's you could make a very compelling argument. I mean, look at attendance alone. I mean, now we're filling out. I mean, people will show up just to watch the arm wrestling for sure. Like, yeah, like we're filling arenas.
What's your Canadian nationals? I've seen some ridiculous photos of Canadian nationals with 800 plus competitors. I mean, and Canada's, look, you expect that from the Eastern European countries like Turkey, and they have huge
Yeah,
nationals, but in the West, it's not as recognized as being a legitimate mainstream sport.
yeah, yeah. So Canada, there's a lot of arm wrestling here. Really, there's a lot. Um, I think it runs pretty deep into our culture. But yeah, there's no government compensation or nothing like that. But yeah, the WAF is very well attended. I mean, tournaments in Canada very well attended. I mean, I don't go to the nationals a lot. Actually, the nationals are this weekend. They're this weekend in
Canadian
Regina.
nationals.
So yeah, Canadian nationals are this. I think they're this Saturday. Yeah, in Regina. So that'll be awesome. And yeah, we'll check the numbers, but yeah, they're always super well attended, super well attended. Like tournaments there are some big tournaments. The one we have here in Ottawa, I think the one that Eric puts on, the Ottawa Open, that's just a regular tournament, has like over 1,000 people.
That's
So
ridiculous.
yeah. So I think the Nationals is probably higher than that, you know. Yeah.
Is your Haybury, Milo, Orden, they competing in
Not
nationals
this
or?
year. Not this year. We've been so busy, Phil. We are on the road and going and going. Like, I feel like we just get back in the door and we get ready for our next trip. Yeah, next weekend I'm going up northern Quebec. Obichuan, I think it's called. Yeah, I'm traveling all over the place all the time. Nationals, I'd love to go. Really, I would love to go, but it wasn't in the books this year for me.
There's always another nationals.
Well, if the Olympics are at the end of it,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Look, I mean, you get especially for the youngsters. I mean, I think the youth is definitely the future of the sport is through the youth, right? I mean,
always,
you get
always.
and you get from the inclusivity side, there's some fantastic matches in the women's side at the WAF level. I mean, that needs more attention. Hence why I'm
Yeah,
excited that Haybury is competing,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So the
yeah.
girls, I've
Yeah.
got some girls who are concerned about that, and they're like, "Is Haybury competing?" I'm like, "Pretty sure she is."
Havery's pretty chill. I'll tell you, Havery is a very, very good athlete. Really good, but she is the least motivated in arm wrestling in the family. Like she arm wrestles a little bit. She's won she's won the high school championships every year. So the regional high school championship, she's won it. But she's not training. She just shows up and does it. So maybe, but at the last event we went to the event in Chicago. She asked if there were any girls in her class, and she would have entered, I'm sure, but there were none. But I think now she's like, I think that she's getting ready to compete if it's there.
Yeah. Oh, she'll get it. She'll get a good class of girls that's over the top
Good. Okay. Well, I'll tell her. I'll tell her to get
and
ready.
a healthy amount of spending money for a holiday if she wins it.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
great.
she'll get she wins both arms, $1,000.
Oh, well, that's all the motivation she needs. Yeah.
Well, Jody can jump in as well.
Yeah, she
I don't know,
could.
is
She could.
Jody training?
No, no, no. She's she's there to support me with the referees and the crowd and just always be on people. Jody still floats around. Like, we go to practice every other night, and every once in a while she will get on the table for a little bit, but no, she's not training. No.
Okay, so we'll say for sure Milo, Orden, and Haybury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
look,
And
and
you
Orden
never
will
know.
mix it up in the major
Yeah,
or in the open class. Yeah.
I won't be surprised. Yeah. Yeah, Aden's
Nice.
getting quite good. He's getting quite good. I think it's only a matter of time. The level of arm wrestling is quite high, so, but he's certainly technically way ahead of where I was. Way ahead. Yeah, his game is very tight. It's very good. Very good.
But a lot of that, would you say, people coming into the sport now, the amount of knowledge they get, Gates, compared to, you've done this for a lot longer than me, but your knowledge and your ability to acquire knowledge in the early years would have been very slow burn.
Very slow. Very slow. I mean, look at I'm definitely dating myself now because obviously there's been generations that have come and gone, since the advent of the internet. But I didn't grow up with the internet, right? So like we didn't have that ability to go and study and use YouTube. We had to go out and actually meet people. And so yeah, at the beginning, I mean, we were doing things all wrong, all wrong. It took a while, but now I feel like, just the ability to watch high level arm wrestling kind of puts things, very clear now. I think just people watching, high level arm wrestlers arm wrestle kind of just very quickly aligns them onto where the sport is, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you see new guys come in, and they have never trained before in a club, and they've watched enough online, observed it, done them basic movements that when their base level is much higher
Way
than
higher.
if you way higher, and they pick it up, and they just seem to just make very quick advances. Guys like I mean, Rickard is naturally an athlete. He's a big guy anyway, but still,
Yeah.
his ability to come in there and do and make such rapid gains, he's picked up the knowledge very quickly. But had he done that 20 years ago without access to a lot of the YouTube content, I think he would have spent a lot more time just getting hurt and going to training and going up against a wall with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The technical level and guys coming into the sport now is way higher, way higher. Yeah. It's funny how much those things matter, the ability to see it on YouTube, to see the training methods, to just very quickly, get in line with what the best people in the sport are doing and presenting. I think that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eh,
Final question, Devon, before I leave you to your morning. First
Yeah.
thing I just want to say a huge thank you to not just to you but the whole family for we've been chatting about this back and forth for months, and it's actually probably gone back to the start of the year. It was a conversation with Tom Haviland and then you, and how do I make
Right.
those two dates? And that's what it came down to.
Yes.
Tom Haviland,
Yeah.
then how do I get these stars to align? It was tricky, right? Because you've got travel plans, like you said, every second week you're on the move. So how do I not cross over with an existing event? Anyway, we've got it happening October 19. But firstly, thank you for all your support for Australian arm wrestling,
Oh,
Devon. You've done so much for us over the last 10 years.
you've given me so many opportunities to see your beautiful country, meet all the arm wrestlers. It's been really cool. Like really, I feel like I know Australia and the arm wrestlers from Australia much better than I know almost any other country because of all the tours that I've done. And this will just
That's
be
so true.
another opportunity for me to get in touch with all the Australian arm wrestlers. We'll be there for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So I mean, we'll be based out of um will we be based out of Sydney or
No, we'll have you on the over the top is at the Gold Coast at the big casino there. So in the theme of the movie, we'll do it at the casino. So it's at the
right?
casino. So you'll stay at the casino.
Oh, perfect.
And then we'll go back to Brisbane, and then
Okay,
you
back
will
to Brisbane. Yeah.
be because then you're going straight to the North Coast, right?
Brisbane, I always thought was the strongest club. Is it still?
Well, the club you're talking about has so when you came to Brisbane last, we had the Brisbane Heavy Hitters, which was the kind of mega club
Up, up in the
that
supplement shop.
dissolved. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, and that dissolved, and then now you've got lots of clubs in Brisbane. There's probably nine, I think, and so you've got a
Well,
lot of
that's a
really
lot.
strong clubs, a
Uh,
lot of club. So, but there's no one club that I would say this is the best. This is the strongest club by far in Brisbane.
But do you think most of the best arm wrestlers are still based out of Brisbane?
Let me think. I mean, you got Lachlan up here, you got Rickard, you got Blue up here. Sydney, you got Mario Tambakis. Brett's down in Victoria. Yeah, I'd say if you just do the numbers, there's probably more
Yeah,
of the
probably.
guys in the top five
Yeah,
in Brisbane.
yeah. Good,
But the
good.
big question is, Devon, could Auden right now beat Danny Tesh? Danny Tesh in his prime.
Danny was pretty good. Danny was very sticky. Danny was such a natural. Like, he came into the sport just such a natural, great arm wrestler. Who I think Danny probably still have the edge.
He was
Auden's doing
he had
Auden's doing yeah.
Danny was very Danny would
Oh
put that
yeah,
sort of he put his frame on the line. I remember that match with
he would.
you on the practice table.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's great. That was great. Yeah, he was such an endurance freak. Like such a steady strength he had. He's disappeared, yeah?
it's a sad put that down to the fantasy leagues of arm wrestling matches because Danny's not what he's
Yeah,
100% not in
well,
arm wrestling, which is a
that'd
real
be a
shame.
great super match. That'd be a great super match right now. Tell him to get in shape.
Yeah, okay, that
On
could be
on
harder to
versus
do.
Danny Cash. Yeah,
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 yeah. If we can get him back, we'd love to get him back in the sport, Devon. He was, like you said, genetically, he had all the tools. He had the training ethic. He hated he hated losing. He had that attitude of it just wasn't good enough unless he was the best. He went to WAF and got ninth in the 90
yeah,
kilo class and was not happy with that. And that's a class with Prudnik,
yeah,
Gasparini, and you're like, man, these are the best guys in the world. But his
yeah,
mindset is what gets you to that number one spot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you got to be able to lose. You got to be able to lose.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, very cool, man. I can't wait. We can't wait. We'll be just getting more and more excited. But October 19th,
Three
yeah,
months
so we
and
got
1 week to go.
we got the whole summer season up here to train. I guess it'll be coming into the spring for you guys, but perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Oh, look, the Gold Coast at that time of year, it's a beautiful spot to be. It's on the glitter strip, near Surfers Paradise, casino setting, and it's a lot of fun. It'll be dressed up to look very 80s. We last time a bit of feedback I got last time, Bill Collins, Bill Collins was at the 86 event. And Bill, I
Yeah,
kept in contact with Bill over the years. Bill sent me a message after the 22 event and said, Phil, I watched the whole live stream. I was at the over the top event 86, and this was just as much fun and looked just as good as the event that I was at. And I thought that to me was the
yeah,
best feedback I got.
yeah. That's great. That's great. Very cool. Very cool.
All right, my
So
friend.
all the links are in the description if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll put the registration form up next week. So anyone who wants to register who's international, I'll share you and tag you and that stuff, Devon. But look, right now it's all about visas for internationals. I'm just working
yeah,
with, some countries. Australia's not the easiest country to get into visa wise,
uh,
so it's just making sure we get the biggest turnout from the internationals.
yes,
And then the countdown's
yes.
on.
Can't wait. Yeah, we'll see all you guys there. I can't wait.
Awesome. All right. I'll leave you to your day,
Thank
Devon.
you
Thank you
so
so much
much.
again. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
getting
Phil.
up for
We
me, man. I
can't wait.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Devon.
Later, buddy.